The secret of the village girl. Nia Aluko was a woman of substance. At 28 years old, she had achieved what many could only dream of. She owned several thriving businesses, held a degree from one of the most prestigious universities, and lived in a penthouse overlooking the bustling city skyline. People admired her beauty, intelligence, and wealth, yet there was one thing she lacked: true love. Time and time again, men flocked to her, not for who she was, but for what she had. They were enamored by her cars, her connections, and her lavish lifestyle. Each relationship ended with the same bitter taste in her mouth: their love was for her money, not her heart. One rainy evening, as Nia sat alone in her grand apartment, she made a decision. If true love exists, it won't be found here, she muttered to herself. She decided to leave her world of glitz and glamour behind and seek love in a place where wealth and status held no sway, a small, remote village far from the city's noise. Nia had always been admired for her impeccable sense of style, but this time, she deliberately chose a different path. She went to a wig shop and purchased a simple, plain headscarf. Then, she found an oversized dress that was 2 sizes too big and purchased some large ear makeup to give herself a disheveled, eccentric look. Her reflection in the mirror startled even her. Gone was the confident, polished businesswoman. In her place stood a woman who looked like she had fallen on hard times. She smiled faintly. Perfect. Nia informed her assistant that she would be unreachable for a few months and left her businesses in capable hands. With nothing but a small suitcase, she boarded a bus bound for E.W.T, a remote village that she had read about in a magazine. The villagers of E.W.T were not used to strangers, especially not one like Nia. When she arrived, dragging her modest bag behind her, head turned. Children giggled at her oversized dress, and the adults whispered among themselves. She looks so odd, one woman muttered. Poor thing, another added. She must have nothing to her name. Nia ignored the stares and found a small hut on the edge of the village to rent. It was a far cry from her luxurious penthouse, but she embraced it. She bought a few basic supplies from the local market and began crafting simple jewelry to sell. Her goal was to integrate herself into the community without revealing her true identity. Life in E.W.T was hard but fulfilling. Nia woke up with the roosters, fetched water from the well, and learned to cook over an open fire. Despite her plain appearance, she quickly gained the attention of some villagers who were drawn to her intelligence and kindness. One of these villagers was Mama Abeni, a warm, elderly woman who sold fruits at the market. She took a liking to Nia and often invited her for dinner. "You're a smart girl," Mama Abeni said one evening as they shared a meal of yam and stew. "What brought you to our little village?" Nia hesitated. "I wanted a fresh start," she replied vaguely. Mama Abeni nodded knowingly. Sometimes, the simplest places hold the greatest treasures. Juma was a farmer who lived a modest life. His days were spent tending to his crops and caring for his younger siblings. He was known in the village for his honesty and humility. Unlike the others, he didn't laugh at Nia or pity her. Instead, he observed her quietly, intrigued by her resilience and intelligence. One afternoon, as Nia was selling her jewelry at the market, Juma approached her stall. "These are beautiful," he said, picking up a beaded bracelet. "Thank you," Nia replied with a smile. "I make them myself." Juma nodded. It takes skill to create something so intricate. That simple interaction marked the beginning of a friendship. Over time, Juma and Nia found themselves spending more time together, discussing everything from farming techniques to life's challenges. Juma admired Nia's determination and kindness. Despite her modest appearance, he could see the spark of intelligence and compassion in her eyes. Nia, in turn, was drawn to Juma's authenticity. He treated her as an equal, never judging her by her looks or apparent poverty. One day, As they walked side by side in the village garden, Juma turned to Nia. "You're not like anyone I've ever met. There's a strength in you that I admire." Nia felt her heart flutter. "And you're the most genuine person I've ever known," she replied. Their bond grew stronger with each passing day, and soon, it became clear that their feelings had deepened into love. As much as Nia wanted to keep her true identity hidden, she knew she couldn't build a relationship on lies. One evening, she invited Juma to her hut and decided to tell him everything. "Juma, there's something you need to know," she began nervously. "What is it?" he asked, his brow furrowed with concern. Nia took a deep breath. "I'm not who you think I am. I'm not poor. I'm a wealthy businesswoman, and this," she gestured to her appearance, "is a disguise. I came here to find love, but I never expected to find you." Juma stared at her in shock. For a moment, Nia feared the worst. But then he smiled. "Your wealth doesn't matter to me," he said. "What I fell in love with is your heart, not your money." When the villagers learned the truth about Nia, they were stunned. Many who had mocked her tried to curry favor, but Nia remained humble. She thanked those who had shown her kindness and forgave those who hadn't. Nia and Juma's love story became the talk of the village. Their union was a celebration of values over appearances, of character over wealth. Nia decided to use her wealth to improve the village. She built a school, funded a clinic, and provided resources for farmers to increase their yields. Despite her newfound influence, she continued to live modestly, side by side with Juma. Their wedding was a grand affair, blending the traditions of the village with Nia's modern flair. As they exchanged vows under the setting sun, surrounded by friends and family, Nia felt a sense of peace she had never known before. For the first time in her life, she knew she was truly loved. The end.